The question that he asked is, what portion of my financial life is actually stable? And what I asked him to kind of contemplate on kind of in between meetings was, how much or even what percentage of your future retirement income do you not want exposed to stock market risk, business risk, and real estate risk? And I think that's a much more important question than most people realize, because many people spend decades focused almost entirely on accumulation. They work to maximize account balances, increase contribution, they pursue growth as much as they can, but eventually many people begin realizing that accumulation and stability are not one and the same, right? Accumulation, climbing up the mountain, you make it to the mountaintop, you started to retire, and then having some stability to get down the mountain safely, completely different things, completely two different approaches to the way that you're looking at money. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, because retirement is not just about reaching a certain number by any stretch of the imagination. It's all about understanding how reliable and sustainable that number actually is once you begin living on it. Right? There's a lot of other factors that are associated with that, but that's really what it boils down. Like, how reliable and sustainable is my cash flow in retirement? That's what future cash flow planning, as it should be called, but that's what retirement planning is all about. Because market volatility feels way different once your financial life becomes dependent on withdrawals rather than contributions. In other words, your W-2 income, your 1099 income, your independent contractor income, whatever that may be, has now gone away. Now we're trying to live off of what we've been able to save all these years. And the question a lot of people have is like, did I save enough? And if I did, is it going to be stable? Like, what happens if the market takes a tank? And that's the questions, that's the kind of narrative that was going on in the mind of my client, which is what led us to have the conversations that we were having, again, just a few short weeks ago. During accumulation years, volatility can feel often very abstract, right? Because it doesn't really have a direct impact on your life. But during retirement, volatility becomes very emotional, right? It can affect your confidence. It can affect your spending behavior. It can affect flexibility. It can affect generosity, the peace of mind that you have, how you show up for your family, how you show up at church, right? What trips you're actually able to go take. How intentional are you going to be within the life that you live on a day-to-day basis, right? That's what matters a whole lot. It becomes a lot more of an emotional decision than simply just like, do I have enough money saved up? And so everything that I'm saying here, this distinction mattered a lot to him. The more we talked, the more he realized he did not necessarily want all of his future retirement confidence tied exclusively to volatile assets. He wanted part of his financial life positioned somewhere that's way more stable, way more predictable, a lot less emotionally reactive to market swings. Again, he doesn't see this as like a replacement for investing, but he sees it as a way to counterbalance some of the things that he has no control over, which is how the market goes up and down and up and down. And frankly, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have with strategies about high cash value life insurance. Specifically when we're talking about high cash value whole life insurance. Many people assume that the conversation is about replacing your stock market assets. And that's the distinction that mattered here, because the goal was never to eliminate growth or hinder any of the growth that he was having. But the goal was to reduce concentration within one asset class. And he wanted to create a level of balance within the overall portfolio. And I think that's one of the biggest themes that I personally keep noticing in conversations with very thoughtful professionals that are approaching retirement, is that over time, many people become less and less obsessed with maximizing optimization and maximizing returns, and they become more focused on creating stability, optionality, flexibility, and confidence. Not because they've become financially conservative, but because they've become financially experienced. And often that experience changes the questions people begin asking about money. And if you're seeking more stability and predictability within your financial life and in the future cash flow plan that you're looking to create for yourself, go ahead and type the word stable in the comments, because I know you're not alone. And if there's anything that I can do to help, go ahead and let me know as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.